I'm going to go to the cloud. And you can admit people, right, Bonnie?
Yeah.
Okay. So we are recording and we are live on Facebook. So if you have to tune out for any reason, you will find the show on Factor Fiction Facebook page, Storytellers Factor Fiction. Um, my name is Sami Scot, and subbing for my Master of Musical Madness, which is Kiki Silsiski. She's not here today, but we have Bonnie Krazny, and I'm so glad Bonnie could be here to help out with all of our Zoom issues and to
Well,
help me.
do my best.
Oh, well, you're the best, of course. That's why I have you. And Bonnie's going to open up our show. So the name of our show is Fact or Fiction. So what happens is we have storytellers come on, and they all tell a story. And the theme of the show is every story has a song, every song has a story. Of course, because I'm a piano player, and I want to be able to play music for everyone. So we add a little song just to spice up the story. So it might be in the middle of the story, might be at the end of the story. We'll wait and see and let the storytellers decide. Tonight we have Dion Walton, Geneva Norman, and Judy. I have to look at her name because it's so long. Rossignuolo-Rice. And we're so happy to have them share with us their creations, whether they are true or false. We will find out afterwards. Bonnie and I are going to open the show with a song. Bonnie, what are you going to sing?
It's called Glitter in the Air.
And why did we choose this one?
Well, we're talking about fantasy, and I think it's a bit of a fantasy.
Oh, I think so too. I think so too. Here we go. This is from Alicia Moore, Pink.
Have you ever fed a lover with just your hands? Closed your eyes and trusted, just trusted. Have you ever thrown a fistful of glitter in the air? Have you ever looked fear in the face and said, I just don't care? It's only half past the point of no return. The tip of the iceberg, the sun before the burn, the thunder before the lightning, the breath before the phrase. Have you ever felt this way? Have you ever hated yourself for staring at the phone? Your whole life waiting on the ring to prove you're not alone. Have you ever been touched so gently you could cry? Have you ever invited a stranger to come inside? It's only half past the point of oblivion. The hourglass on the table, the walk before the run, the breath before the kiss, and the fear before the flames. Have you ever felt this way? La 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 la. There you are, sitting in the garden, clutching my coffee, calling me sugar. You called me sugar. endless night. Lassoed the moon and the stars and pulled that rope tight. Have you ever held your breath and asked yourself, will it get any better than tonight? Thank you, Sammy.
Oh, Bonnie, that was nice. That was such a nice
Thank
start
you.
to the show. I'm going to disable the waiting room because looks like it's still on. Or can you do it, Bonnie?
Yep, I think so.
Thank you. Our first storyteller tonight is somebody I've been knowing for the last, or at least 5 years, Dion Walton from Chicago, right, Dion? Oh, Dion,
Yes.
oh, there you are. And Bonnie, where are you? Bonnie's going to come on too. So, how long have you been a storyteller or writing stories, Dion?
Um, for you mean telling stories or writing stories?
I guess there is a difference. I guess writing stories and then telling stories.
Okay, writing stories maybe 20 years,
Wow.
and because I'm, writing my autobiography,
Right.
and telling stories probably since I was 2.
Oh, really? So then you've always been interested in telling stories, or are you just talking about telling fibs?
Well, I'm sure my mother would say he has always told stories if she was here to say it.
You were a veteran of the Second Story um, Theater, and what is the Second Story Theater, and what do you do there?
Second story. Oh yeah, we tell stories also, but they play have sound effects behind you, and you perform in like supper clubs and nightclubs,
Oh, nice.
and that's the way it was before the pandemic. But now that we are alive, I mean, now that we're since the pandemic, we have been online, which has made it different. So, but it's still an exciting program. And I just got, as a matter of fact, I just got notice that they want me to perform in the April live somewhere. They don't
Oh,
know where yet.
that's
They don't know where
exciting.
yet. They just said we want you to perform in April live. I was like, they said, "Do you think you can do it?" I said, "I guess."
You
Oh,
got time to plan, at
Yeah,
least.
I suppose.
so Deanne, do you like to tell a different story every time, or do you have like certain stories that are more popular and that your go-to stories, like singers have go-to songs?
Well, I think I have like most of the time people tell me which stories they want to hear because a lot of people have heard my stories and then they ask me to repeat it or like in the case of the Goodman, they make me put together whole new stories all the time. Actually, the Goodman is who makes me really write new stories constantly because that's the way my teacher at the Goodman is. She's very that way with me, Miss
That's exciting. Um,
Willa Taylor. She's very, you do this, Dion, like I said, or else. And, you know what
and
the
you
or else is.
so you're also an artist. You want to tell us a little bit about your art?
Like painting art.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really didn't get into that too much. But I did paint for a while. My standard was acrylic. I used to paint in acrylic, and I had a art gallery opening, and I sold a few paintings, and even sold a print. But I really didn't get into that. I really didn't care for it, so I just stopped doing it.
You're a man of many talents, that's for sure.
Totally, right? So Dion, the name of the story you're going to do today is called, oh, sounds kind of scary, Daymare of Wentworth Street.
Oh, people are. Uh, Let me put my phone. Um, yes.
Somebody who needs a link, maybe make sure they have the link to the show.
Yes, that's what they're asking me for, and I
Give
can't
it.
do that right now because I'm on. Um,
You're going to have to wait.
I can't really, I can't do that.
Well, if you're
So
ready to tell your story, we're ready to hear your story.
wait, I'm trying to speaker view. What? Oh, exit field screen. Wait a minute. Let me. Here we go. All right, I'm ready.
Okay, we're going to put you on. There we go.
Daymare on South Whitworth Street. The definition of daymare, according to Oxford's language, a frightening or oppressive trance or a hallucinatory condition experienced while wide awake. One hot Saturday morning in June of 1960, at the age of 7, my mother sent me out to the store to buy a purple box. Okay, not only was she interrupting my Saturday morning ritual of having the pleasure of watching cartoons while lying in bed, but I had to go buy those things being a purple box of Kotex. I had no clue of what those things were, but I knew they were nasty. Our neighborhood grocery store was a part of a national chain called the A&P Grocery, part of the A&P Grocery Atlantic Pacific. It was like Jewel of today and was in the heart of Inglewood on 67th and Wentworth. I never liked getting up early on no matter what day it was, but when I didn't have to go to school, I just wanted to be left alone, wrapped in the safety of my blankets. Did I get my way? No. As usual, I was promptly overruled. On my way to the store, I would travel across a vacant lot. The sun fueled a smell of overheated trash that was familiar in my hood. Growing up in Inglewood in the 60s as a unaware gay male at the time left me shy and inhibited. This caused me to escape into a world deep inside myself. All my life I would hear rumors that I was gay, but was totally unaware of just what that meant. Just like the case of the purple box, didn't know what, but I knew it wasn't good. So here I am at 9 a.m. dragging myself through the vacant lot and alleyways that smelled like hot garbage, unaware of anything that was happening around me. I got to the store and walked through the door, feeling a strange menacing sensation. I noticed for a moment that wasn't anyone at the register and not wanting to be there, I brushed it off to being early and probably the first customer of the day. So I went about my business in search of the purple package of disgrace. I had I had only one thought on my mind: shopping and getting back to bed to my blankets. As I instinctively walked through the store, I started feeling more alone. The skill of ignoring my surroundings had become a way of life for me, living in the hood as a gay child. My life was filled with name calling, rocks being hurled at me, bullying, and general humiliation. The dishonor that I felt came from children as well as adults. I felt there was no one I could go to for understanding or comfort. So I learned to retreat to my special place, teaching myself to disregard my surroundings so I wouldn't get hurt. Locating my vein of existence, I proceeded to the checkout counter, noticing that there still wasn't anyone around. I yelled for the assistant. "Excuse me, I'm ready to check out." A man came from out of nowhere with his back turned to me. As he turned, my daymare became a nightmare. In a black hooded ski mask, he turned toward me with a gun in hand. The worst part was it was pointed straight at me. I froze. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even. I had never seen a real gun in person before, let alone one pointed at me. "Turn around and get in the back and don't open your fucking mouth." Still frozen, I didn't move. I couldn't move. I felt as if my feet were crazy glued to the floor. He raised the gun directly in my face and growled, "I said in the back, you little bitch." Being shocked out of my haze, I scurried into the back room without making a sound. Arriving in the back, all the people were tied up and on the floor surrounded by produce. Unknowingly, I had walked into the middle of a robbery. Suddenly, my thoughts changed from being consoled by my blankets to feeling of dying in a back room surrounded by lettuce. I began to cry, but I muffled it to a whimper. But when I did, one of the two masked men raised his hands as if to strike me and said, if you don't stop your bitch ass crying, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. Now shut the fuck up." Seated on the floor next to the others, I attempted not to even breathe. I thought if I could get home to my mother, I would never argue with her again. I wanted to be home with her safe in her arms. So I closed my eyes and escaped into a deeper place, my special place. I felt I needed to escape to her loving arms, even though I never looked at her as being that loving. After a while, the robbers instructed us to stay in the room and not to make a sound for 20 minutes. As they left, turning off the lights, we sat in the dark silence. We were left with only the brief flashing of lights from the flapping, swinging doors until there was nothing but a feeling of being wrapped in blankets of darkness. It seemed like a minute later, the manager swung around asking one of the captives to untie him. He got up to leave as one of the women cried, "What the hell you doing? They said to stay here for 20 minutes. What you trying to do, get us killed? They're going to shoot us." "They ain't out there. They're escaping. I'm not sitting up in here." Bolting out the door and into the light, he left us, seated in terror, while we waited to hear the sounds of erupting gunfire. It seemed like hours before he finally came back telling us that they were gone. When we untied each other and I was freed, I bolted for the front door. Once out, I turned into a one-boy police siren, running and screaming in a panic. I didn't take a breath for blocks as I ran back through our backyard and up the familiar back stairs. My mother, hearing me long before I arrived, greeted me on the back steps, horrified as I ran up to her, throwing my arms around her waist. "What's the matter? Why are you screaming like this? Calm down. Stop running." I was totally out of breath and unable to talk. When I finally told her my story, she was emotionally drained. The thought of me being held at gunpoint only blocks away from her totally had her distressed. After regaining herself, she said, "We need to go back. The police will want to question you." "What? The police might want to question me for what?" I had no intentions of returning there ever. Of course, overruled again, I was dragged back to the scene of the crime. Arriving back at the Daymare, it was a complete madhouse and police were all over the place. "There he is," a woman screamed. The police turned to me as I stood there, transfixed, again glued to the floor. For a moment they looked scarier to me than the robbers had. They were running around shouting orders and pushing people around. Growing up in Inglewood, we learned not to believe, talk, or trust the police. After rushing up on me, they carted me back to that same room of lettuce and tomatoes that I was held captive. Leaving my mother in the store, I thought, "Oh no, I'm not going back there again." Of course, once again, overruled. It seemed like I was questioned for hours, but I guess it was a small period of time because I didn't remember a thing from the time I saw the gun till I was in the back room. I had no clue of what they looked like. I only remembered that silver gun pointed at my face. The whole ordeal left me traumatized for some time, and I couldn't go back to the store by myself for a while. It was then I realized that my ability to ignore or just to not remember my surroundings was not always such a good thing. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I was able to take myself to a safe place, a place deep in my heart where there were no police, robbers, gay bashers, or haters in general, where no one would hurt me physically or mentally. In this special place, the entire world loved me unconditionally. Much as I hated to say, that world that I held deep inside me, like the rest of my thoughts, have always been overruled.
So good. So good. So good, Dion.
Yes.
So what song are we doing to augment your story?
Oh, you want me to say the title?
Or we could just start it, and I think they'll know it, right?
Okay, let me get to
And then
it.
I want to know why you chose this song. Because you said I would know, but you know what? I don't.
Well, um, wait a
You don't
minute.
have to say now. You could say after.
I have to pull up the. Okay, I'm ready. Dale, Dale, daylight come and me wanna go home. Day, me say day, me say day, me say day. Oh. Daylight come and me wanna go home. Work all night on drink of rum.
Daylight coming, wanna go home.
Stack banana till the morning come.
Daylight come, I may wanna go home.
And come Mr. Tallyman telling me banana.
Daylight come, I may wanna go home.
Mr. Tallyman telling me banana.
Daylight come, I may wanna go home.
Lift 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot bunch.
Daylight come, I may wanna go home.
6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot bunch.
Daylight come, I may wanna go home.
Day, you say day, oh.
Daylight come, I may wanna go home.
Day, me say day, me say day, me say day, oh. Beautiful bunch of ripe bananas.
Daylight come, I may wanna go home.
I did it late like tarantula.
Daylight come, I may wanna go home.
Lift 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot bunch.
Daylight come, I may wanna go home.
6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot bunch.
Daylight come and we all wanna go home.
Come, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana.
Daylight come and we wanna go home.
Come, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana.
Daylight come and we all wanna go home.
Day, oh, day, oh.
Daylight come and we all wanna go home.
Day, me say day, me say day, me say day. Daylight come and me wanna go home.
Now I see. I get it now.
Yes.
Yes, all the bananas. And I just want to go home.
Yes.
So good, Dion. So everybody, don't. Okay, I hope you were taking notes during this story because when this is over, we're going to ask one question. Everybody gets one question, not from each person, but from each storyteller. You get one question to ask, and we'll figure out if Dion's story is true or false. Next up, we have the fantabulous Judy Rossignuolo-Rice. Oh, I think I did that wrong. I was supposed to ask Geneva first.
Do you want Geneva next?
Yeah, Geneva was coming on next. Oh, I was wrong. Sorry, everybody. Geneva Norman is up actually next. Hi, Geneva. Wait, unmute yourself. Bonnie, where are you?
Hi, everybody.
Oh, you look so lovely in front of that cruise ship.
Thank you. I bought it last night and I'm really impressed with it.
Pish posh.
I think there's room for all of us. Geneva, so you are such an I mean, I've known you, but I didn't. Your levels of creativity and all the things you've done in your life go so deep, and it's not even in your bio here. What did you start out as? I have to tell everybody this is so cool.
Well, I started out, okay, I don't know if I'm try to give you the short version. I don't even know if I told you this before, but I started out in psychology because back in the old days in my city, you couldn't be a registered nurse if you were Black. There was no such thing as Black registered nurses in Ohio. And then when they just opened a school that I could go to, I became an RN. And then one of the first, I think one of the first 125 nurse practitioners in the United States. And no one had ever heard of a nurse practitioner. So then I decided to go to medical school. So someone could hear of, I could actually do some things that I'd been prepared to do. So, and so that's my background from psychology to nursing and as a nurse practitioner, and then into medicine, and that's basically it.
Just amazing. And then I can see how you were able to make this turn into music for medicine. Maybe other people won't, but I'm looking at who some of your family members are. Can you tell us, can you mention a few of those? Because it's really pretty exciting to us.
Well, I'm telling you, when just having these people in your family at family reunions, you're like the last person to get to sing or do anything because they are there. Nobody wants to hear, Geneva, but so probably the first one I would mention would be Kool and the Gang, because those guys are all brothers. And so one of our very first family reunions, well, they actually started in Ohio, in Youngstown, where they were born, and their parents, their father, Kool, and his brother's father, my cousin also was a boxer, a featherweight champion, and a colleague of all the boxers that we know of from that time. So he actually got sick, and all of those big guys, including Muhammad Ali, who was just a young whippersnapper then, came to see him at a big event that they had for him. And then there's Betty Wright, and I don't know if you know Betty Wright. She was an R&B singer. She recently passed away. The Cleanup Woman and No Pain, No Gain were her songs. And then finally there is John Legend. His real name is John Stevens from Springfield, Ohio. My family on my mother's side, we are all over Ohio, especially southern and western, southwestern Ohio. And John is related to me by marriage. His brother, Sean, married my double cousin. So,
What is a double cousin? Wait, what's a double cousin?
okay. So in our family, what happened is a brother and sister married another brother and sister.
Oh.
So their children are almost like siblings to the first cousins.
Wow.
And they're called double cousins. Yes. So, yeah, so those are some of the main people, but there are a lot of other ones who maybe didn't reach the same height, but they were just very, very good. Let's just say overshadowing your girl here.
You must.
Geneva, you have done so much. Okay, so we know that you are a psychologist, then a nurse practitioner, then a doctor. You've traveled the world as a blues singer. So, I mean, how does a person have that much time in one lifetime to do all of these things?
Well, I'm going to tell you, let me tell you what made me stop practicing medicine before I fell right off the examination stool. It was from a tragedy, actually. I was hit by a drunk driver when I was working in California. And I lost my vision as a result of that accident. And I was blind for 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
And I learned how to be a blind person. I had a white cane and I went to the Society for the Blind, all of that. I had my white cane with the red tip and all of those things. And I actually got somewhat comfortable to the extent that my daughter even now comes home and says, "Mom, turn the lights on," because I forget that I don't have to cook in the dark anymore. So, but because of that, I couldn't do anything. So I started getting involved in activities in the city, the Goodman Theater. And I had already been at Old Town, where you are, one of my favorite places on earth. And then I just started doing more of those kinds of things. And that's how this happened. Then I got a band. And
story true or false? No.
I know your true life story is truly amazing. I'm hoping your story will be.
Well, we don't know if any of this is true now. I wasn't told I had to tell the truth.
Oh.
Okay. So I have a band.
You have more.
I'm sorry.
You have more than one band, right?
Yes, I have the G2 band because I have my own band, but then I have someone that I adopted at the Old Town School like 20 years ago, and he is my son. He is my son. We probably don't look alike, but he is my son, and he needs to play his bass. So I made another band so he could be in that band. But my band is the Geneva Convention Band, and you won't be able to find much on us outside of Facebook because I went to check our webpage and it's gone because we haven't been on there in over a year because of the, our wonderful.
They just took it down? I didn't know they would do that.
Well, maybe my guys probably know how to make it go bouncing back up or something, but I couldn't find anything. I was just astonished. It had been there so many years and it was gone. Yeah, so, but we have our stuff on Facebook and we'll be back. We've been playing for 20 years, so we play everywhere. We played in every dive in this city. We played on pianos that don't even have keys. No kidding.
The name of the band that you work with most is the Geneva Convention Band?
The Geneva Convention Band, yes.
So cute, clever. So I didn't ask you what the name of the story you're going to tell is, What is it? What is your story that you're going to share with us today called?
The name of the story is The Finger.
Ah, okay. So I guess, would you like to begin? I'd love to hear this story. After this last story, I don't even know.
Okay. Honestly, I do not ever remember giving anyone the finger in my life. That said, I've never been a wimp either, not now, nor as a child. Until the age of 8, I had no reason to fight anyone. I was good in school. I was reasonably popular. I sang, I danced, all the good stuff. When I turned 8, I finally got the little sister that I'd prayed for so long. The cutest little pink bundle of joy you've ever seen. Somehow, I must have made a silent vow to protect her for life. Different from me, she grew up to be kind of scrappy. If you did something to her, she might punch you or bite you. Such behaviors got me in more than one fight. As I was nothing if not her protector. But if you hurt my sister, I would beat your ass, guaranteed. Outside of that, I was thought to be cheerful and easygoing. In 2019, my family decided to spend Christmas sailing the Caribbean. We thought we could have a party and a gift exchange aboard the ship on Christmas Eve. So 15 of us, a bunch of my underage grandchildren, my daughter, my now deceased sister's daughters, and her children, who are now my grandchildren, or her grandchildren, who are now my grandchildren, planned to set sail. My niece even brought along another teen, her son's half-sister. There were 3 cars full of us as we approached the dock in Miami. Our car was in the lead and had my grandson, Jerron, his half-sister, Jasmine, and me, Granny. While they were only 14 and 17, they were way taller than Granny and most other people. Jerron was a rich Hershey's dark chocolate brown with thick black twists in his hair. Jasmine was more a chocolate caramel with her long braids pulled up in a high bun. She was the taller of the two, who at 17 was over 6 feet, maybe 6'1". Jerron was just approaching 6 feet, and he was 14, dressed in basketball shorts and an oversized white tee, always looking for a chance to play ball. Jasmine had on a colorful summer dress, yellows and reds and oranges, gleaming against the sunlight. We were way ahead of the other family members in the check-in line because the rest of them had to deal with the luggage. I was lost in the view, kind of daydreaming. The streets were sunlit with ocean waves crashing against the dock on one side. On the other side, you could see palm trees like green umbrellas shading the streets. I sighed in utter delight and in anticipation of our cruise, the peace, the relaxation, the sheer joy. Suddenly, I was abruptly startled from my daydreaming by the sound of a loud voice, which could be heard above all the passengers' chatter. I heard, "Cut that out. We don't put up with that kind of behavior from you people." He ranted for about a minute, ending his rant with, "I'll call the police on you people right now." This was the voice I would soon come to know as Walter's. Startled out of my pleasant respite, I looked around quickly to take account of my charges. They looked basically peaceful. It took me a minute to realize that the commotion had been directed at them. I approached the tall, thin, late middle-aged white man to ask him to tell me the problem. He said, "That woman slapped that man. I'll call the police and have him put in jail. We don't put up with that kind of behavior on this ship," he screamed. "Sir," I said, "they are underage. If you have a problem with them, you need to talk to me. I'm their grandmother." "Children," he screamed, "that woman slapped that man and I will call the police and have him taken to jail." Now that protective nature honed in my childhood kicked all the way in. "Why would you call the police on him anyway? Didn't you just say that she slapped him?" He escalated. "Oh, you don't think I'll call the cops?" With that, he turned, lifted a whistle on a chain on his neck and blew it and waved his hand, beckoning the police. He pointed his finger at my tall, handsome, chocolatey, goofy-looking grandson and ordered them to arrest him. His sister Jasmine stared into space as if she had been hit with a stun gun. Both of them were rendered totally speechless. In my head, a virtual slideshow of the faces of Trayvon Martin, Botham Jean, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Freddie Gray, Tamir Rice, and of course my own cousin, killed in New York on his wedding day, which became his death day, Sean Bell. My protective nature was in full throttle. "Stop!" I screamed as they approached my grandson. Things were happening so fast. Police ascending the stairs toward our perch at the top of the landing, cruise line officials requesting identification, the crazy guy who started all of this named Walter still ranting, my terrified grandchildren clutching each other and waiting for Granny to make it stop. When I reached in my purse for my ID, I spotted my medallion from my work at the Department of Homeland Security. Homeland Security, FBI, CIA, Secret Service, TSA. A big, nearly palm-sized white medallion with the seal of the Department of Homeland Security. I quickly showed the medallion to the cop. He examined it carefully. Then he slowly turned and raised his hand in the air toward the other officers and the staff. Like magic, everyone turned around and started descending the wide staircase. I was so panicked, it looked like all of this was happening in slow motion. He ordered everyone back in their cars. Then he turned toward me and started apologizing for the overzealous cruise worker, Walter. He said, "We didn't know you were department brass." Department brass? What brass? What department, for heaven's sake? My emotions had not caught up with the change in my circumstances, but I was at least clear enough to not deny the brass reference. Literally, I was still in a panic, keeping my grandchildren behind me, shielding them from the raging Walter, who was still ranting about the cops not following through with his command. Soon, a number of cruise staff approached, about 6 of them. They escorted all of us to the front of the line. They said that they were the captain's crew and that they would be facilitating our onboarding from that point forward. I gathered my whole family, who by now had all arrived. After the last person was safely on board and in the luxurious room designed for the exclusive guests of the captain, by now I had settled down a bit. Ranting Walter was bewildered that his call for help had backfired. I could see him from the doorway. He stood there, still ranting, as they tried to calm him down. I waited until I caught his eye. I used my thumb to hold down my index and third fingers as I watched him carefully, like a hunter stalking his prey. Slowly, slowly, and once I was certain I was in his clear view, I very deliberately raised my weapon and rotated my hand so that my wicked middle finger was sticking straight up towards the sky. I gave him the unmistakable finger and concurrently rolled my eyes at him with a wretchedness that I am sure came directly from my ancestors. I turned then and entered the door to the plush welcoming center being held open for me by ship staff. Finally aboard, I gathered my entire family in my suite. I set them down and gave them the talk. I explained to them that I had been caught off guard and that I should have probably behaved in the prescribed way, in spite of the way things turned out. I was terrified for the first 2 days of our cruise. I just couldn't shake it. I can't tell you how thankful I am, that my grandson survived physically intact. But it brought home the message that as Black people, we are often perceived as threatening and menacing and are therefore targets simply because of the color of our skin. Thank you.
Oh my God, I was on the edge of my seat. That was so good.
Thank you.
You've chosen a song that now I see why you chose this song. Are you ready?
Yes, I am. Well, while you're vamping, Scotty, I'm going to just tell them a couple things. Well, this is a song written by the great Muddy Waters. And the name of it is The Hoochie Coochie Man. But today, because of this story, and only for today, it's called The Hoochie Coochie Woman. And there are a lot of us hoochie coochie women out there. I see a bunch of them in this audience already. I told Sammy we have to get nasty on this. Gypsy woman told my mother before I was born, you got a girl child coming, gonna be a son of a gun. She gonna take big fine men and lead them by the hand. And the world wanna know that she's the hoochie coochie woman, because I'm here, yeah. Everybody knows I'm here, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm your hoochie coochie woman. And everybody knows I'm here, yeah. Oh, yeah. I got a black cat bone and a mojo too. I got the Johnny Conqueror. I got to mess with you. I'm gonna take big fat men and lead them by the hand. And the world wanna know that I'm your hoochie coochie woman because I'm here, yeah. Everybody knows I'm here, yeah. Well, I'm your hoochie coochie woman, and everybody knows I'm here, yeah. Here come that solo. Yeah, Sammy. Come on, blues. Yeah. Yeah. Who knew Sammy was a blues woman? Now listen. On the 7th day, on the 7th month, I said the 7th day. The 7 doctors say she was born for good luck, and that you'll see. I got $700. Oh, don't you mess with me because I'm here, yeah. Everybody knows I'm here, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm your hoochie coochie woman, and everybody knows. Everybody knows I'm here. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Sammy. You blues lady. Oh, my gosh.
That was so good. That was so good.
Thank you.
So good. What a great day. What great stories we've got so far. So, Bonnie, up next is Judy. I have to look at her name when I say this second name Judy Rossignuolo-Rice.
You actually were spot on, Sami Scot. Very good pronunciation. Could you imagine a kid growing up with that name? It
I
was
cannot.
not easy. Not easy, let me tell you.
So, Judy, are you born and raised here in Chicago, or where are you? Where?
Yes, I'm born and raised on the southwest side of Chicago. Many, many, many years ago.
Not that many.
God bless you.
So you were in this. I did. What is? I want to. I underlined United States Military Department of Morale, Welfare and Recreation. What kind of position is that in the military?
Well, I'm not going to tell you because That may, in fact, be part of my story.
Oh, okay. Can't wait to
Oh.
find that out. Yeah, I was like, wow, I would have been in the army. I think
I wasn't actually in the army. My dad was World War II veteran, but no, not me. It's an interesting thing about what goes on in the military that I didn't know about. Wonderful things.
oh, I can't wait to hear. So, um, what it you do all forms of media. It looks like you're in performing arts. You've got a master's degree in speech and performing arts. You've been an actor, a director, a writer. Is one of these things your favorite, or
Um, Probably the acting part.
aha.
It's not an easy. It's not an easy career, and it may not even be my career, but we'll see. Because this is fact or fiction, as Miss Sami Scot told me about when she invited me to do this.
I'm so glad you're here. This also like is it, so if acting is your favorite, is TV or theater or what would
I
you say?
think theater, but that might make cabaret people sad, so I'm going to say both.
Don't yes. They're
They,
very
they could be
sensitive.
very much alike and very, very different.
I think you have a political future there, Judy.
Yes, yes.
So I was wondering you've done so much theater. Just wondering what your favorite role was.
My favorite role was probably, and I don't know if it's a little known play called Collected Stories, and it's just a two-person show, and it's about a retiring professor who mentors this young woman, and this young woman steals her story for herself.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
it was actually directed by my husband, and it was probably the role of my life. But I have another one coming up in February called Doubt, the one about the
Nuns.
non Mother Superior, Miss Meryl Streep did the movie. So it's going to be at the Skokie Theater, and that's probably going to be one of the second biggest roles. But I've played wonderful roles over the years.
Exciting.
I'm not poo-pooing any of them, but there's just some that are bigger than others.
Are some I think probably some can touch you or bring out some part of your personality
Right,
that other roles you
right.
don't even get to delve that deeply. Very nice.
So for me, one day, somewhere, somehow, I will be Mama Rose in Gypsy. If I have to do it in my garage, I will be Mama Rose.
I can see it in your future. So, and then in Chicago, I know you've been just singing all over town.
Yep, yep.
I'm
This
so
is,
happy. It's
you know, later again, Bonnie, I bless you for saying not that old, but I've been around for a long time, and some interesting things are happening a little later in my life. Because I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time, and then I was a special ed teacher for a long time, and well, you'll see what I have to say in my
ah,
story.
you're not done yet. That's for sure. So the name of your story is Broadway or Bust, Broadway Bound.
From your lips to God's ears, Sammy. When I was 3 or 4 years old, my mother enrolled me in the Patricia Vance Modeling School. I was 3 or 4, so I really didn't know that much about it, except I remember they took a lot of pictures of me, and I guess it's called a composite that they made. Oh, and I loved my modeling school teacher. But it was when I had this audition for a children's show. I was very excited. So while awaiting my turn, I fell asleep in my mother's lap, and when they called me up, I started crying and I refused to go on stage. Now, my older brother, who was there at the time, brings this story up to me up until this day, reminding me of the audition piece that he still has memorized. I crept upstairs when I heard a noise, and there in the room where I kept my toys was a little red Stop. He and I are way too old to still be talking about this. Well, now wait, I was the baby Billy Goat Gruff in kindergarten. It wasn't the same as starring in a children's show, but I guess at the time it wasn't worth talking about, and I guess I didn't know any better. Now let's fast forward. So how did I get to love Broadway musicals? You see, I had this little blue record player. You know, the kind that has the silver clip closure and the white plastic handle? Well, now I got that baby when I was about 10 years old, and it stayed with me all the way through college. I played it nonstop all those years, and I don't ever remember replacing a needle. So when I was a little girl, I'd go in my bedroom, close the door, and make believe for hours and hours. I sang and danced and acted to every Broadway musical cast album I could get my hands on. I knew lyrics backwards and forwards. I knew librettos, performers, Tony Award winners and losers better than any history lesson. Okay, I was not your average 10-year-old. But actually, it was on my 10th birthday that I got my first official Broadway musical cast album. I was an absolute devoted fan of the great Lucille Ball. And this was her one and only Broadway musical, and it was called Wildcat. So you can imagine that I was over the moon when my parents, just a few years later, took me to my first professional musical theater production. It was at a place called the Erlanger Theater in Chicago, which no longer exists. It starred Joan Blondell, Bill Hayes, who still appears on Days of Our Lives at 96 years old, but it was the leading lady, Rosie Alvarez. I was amazed. And if ever the day came, I swore one day I would play that role. The delusions of a little kid. Well, I'll be darned. My senior year in high school, they put on Bye Bye Birdie. Sister Georgianne, Catholic all-girls school on the southwest side of Chicago, cast me as Rosie. Based on the reaction from the audience, for a 17-year-old, it was pretty darn good. Well, so even though I had been in the grammar school, skits and dance recitals and plays, it wasn't until I hit high school that I got that theater bug like a ton of bricks. I had been in dance class just a few years before my sophomore year, and they were doing Carousel. So I didn't dare audition for one of the principal roles, but I did audition to be in the dance chorus. I was really excited. To this day, my friends still tease me. They tell me, a dancer, and I said, yes, I actually got my start in show business as a dancer. Okay, for those of you that know Gwen Verdon, I was no threat to her. So even though I had been involved in many, many things, I eventually built up from small roles into bigger and better roles. As I said, the lead in Bye Bye Birdie, the last half of my senior year. So upon graduation, there was no doubt what I was going to do. Go straight to college and get that BFA in theater. But guess what? My beloved theater, I love it so, my beloved college that I love so much, I still have best friends to this day. They didn't put on any musicals. I was becoming a classically trained actor. Bertolt Brecht, Shakespeare, Molière, Ennui, Dylan Thomas. But I loved it. I didn't even give musical theater a second thought at this time. So after graduation, you'd think I would have been a star. Oh no, all I wanted to do was marry my longtime boyfriend and have a big family of my own. The fact that I was offered a full ride for an MFA in acting at Wayne State University in Michigan didn't even give it a second thought. But I wouldn't trade those 3 kids for all the money and fame in the world. They remind me of that on a regular basis. So, after that, after marriage and a family, I did decide to go back and get my MA. And it was just part-time. I started when my oldest was 10 months old and finished when my youngest of 3 was about 2. And I display those degrees with great pride in my home office. So about a year after this, getting this degree and raising my kids, I really wanted to go back to theater. So I had this idea. I brazenly went to the box office at our local regional equity theater. They asked me to audition. So I guess the rest is history. Now, this time, I didn't care what kind of theater I was doing. I got a chance to do dramas, comedies, musicals, even I had a chance to direct. Oh, and an extra bonus. This is where I met, and on that very, very same stage, eventually married my second husband of almost 21 years. Okay, we're going to fast forward again, 2006. By this time, my 3 children were graduated from college, grown, and had wonderful lives of their own. So to my surprise, during this time, I had this incredible and unexpected adventure. It was in January of 2006. I was directing a play with 3 of Chicago's top actors. Not only did I love these men, but I loved the play. So it was a wonderful match made in heaven. And one of my friends was in the show along with my husband. And he said to me, right now I'm doing something called an adjudication. And this is in Europe as part of the military's Department of Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. He said, you go throughout Europe, you judge these plays, and it's wonderful. And I said, well, good for you. He said, but guess what? I can't do this judging this year because I got hired as the entertainment director at the NATO base in Belgium. I said, well, good for you. He said, but that's all right. I've submitted your name for the judging position. This would involve leaving my family and the country for 6 weeks, traveling all through Europe, and leaving in less than a month. Well, I said to him, thank you so much, but are you, expletive, out of your mind? Guess what? 1 month later, I was on a plane bound for Frankfurt, Germany. Well, it turned out to be the experience of a lifetime. And not only did I get to judge that year, that was 2006, in subsequent years, I was asked to come back and direct and act and even teach theater workshops. So I guess never say never. And that went all the way through 2014. So now let me take a pause and let's go during this time when I would be gone only short periods, 5 or 6 weeks at a time. In 2011, I went back to my singing roots. And my husband and I were asked to join a group of revelers at Monday Night Live at Petterino's restaurant in downtown Chicago. This cabaret night occurred every week. I not only had a great time, I met absolutely wonderful people, lifelong friends to this day. So then I went on to write and perform my own one-woman shows. This was a great opportunity. I went to different cabaret spaces throughout Chicago and the suburbs. And you know what? I got some of the best reviews of my career. I was even fortunate enough to take one of these cabaret shows to Palm Springs, California, where that older brother lives that tortures me on a regular basis about the play. But guess what? It was February of 2020. I came home just in the nick of time. Now, over the years, besides theater and music, I have done commercial work in TV and movies. You might have one day seen a crazy lady in a green caftan singing, and I will scrub 500 tiles. Yes, all those years of classical theater training sure paid off. But I'm blessed in many areas of my life, a wonderful husband, children, grandchildren. But of course, there will always be that one elusive goal that every actor aspires to. And at my age, what else am I supposed to do? Change careers? I think not. But there will always be one dream, especially for an actress of a certain age. Take it away. I'm just a Broadway baby, walking off my tired feet. I'm bound in 42nd Street to be in a show. Oh, Broadway baby, I'm learning how to sing and dance. Oh, I'm waiting for that one big chance to be in a show. Oh, gee, I'd like to be on some marquee, all twinkling lights, a spark to pierce the dark from Battery Park way up to Washington Heights. Someday maybe, oh, all my dreams will be repaid. Heck, I'd even play the maid to be in a show. Say, Mrs. Producer Sammy, I'm talking to you, dear. I don't need a lot, only what I got, plus a tube of grease paint and a follow spot. Broadway baby, I'm slaving at the 5 and 10. Oh, I'm waiting for that one day when I'll be in a show. Aye, Broadway baby, I'm making rounds all afternoon. I'm eating at some greasy spoon to save on my dough. Oh, at my tiny flat, there's just my cat, a bed and a chair. Still, I'll stick it till I'm on a bill. All over Times Square. Someday maybe, if I stick it long enough, oh, I may get to strut my stuff, working for a nice man like a Ziegfeld or a Weissman in a great big Broadway show. Please, God.
Oh, that was so wonderful. So, who was that playing piano for you there?
Oh, this good-looking guy named
Oh,
Bernie Rice.
Bernie.
I happen to be married to him almost 21 years, but that's another story. That's in another storyteller fact or fiction.
I think this is a fact. I see him right there. That was just terrific. So, Bonnie, do you want to highlight our other storytellers? So, the interactive part of this show, as we bring our storytellers back, Bonnie, you come on too. And people in the audience, I guess we could do the gallery view actually, so we can see who's all out there in the audience. You can ask one question, each audience member, not of each person in the show, but just one question. And we're going to figure out whose stories are fact and whose stories are fiction. So, yeah, let's do a gallery view. Can you do that? And if we could see everybody's face, or if you don't want to show your face, where's the thing, the reactions button down at the bottom of your screen will allow you to put a little hand on. So if we can't see you and can't see your hand is raised, you could put a hand up on the screen and we can see. So do we have any questions out there?
Shireen is anxious to ask a
Oh,
question.
let's have Shireen up. Hi, Shireen. Oh, unmute yourself. Everybody can unmute, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hello, how are you?
Oh, so glad you could come today and hear these fabulous storytellers.
Yes, absolutely. My question, my one question is, what? How do I ask the question? What is the
Who are you directing it to?
So does it have to be only one person?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, it only has to be one person. Okay, what is for Dion? What is it that drives you to want to write and tell stories?
God damn it.
All right, that's a really good question, Shireen, and thank you for picking me to ask that. And by the way, Shireen is the other person I told you about, Sami,
Hi, Shireen.
so that I can ask her a question when she comes up. Okay. I don't know. It's just, like Judy had said earlier, you go through your life and you go through different stages of your life where you are creative this way and you feel creative that way, and then this is pulling you that way. And the whole thing of me writing came from me writing my autobiography that I thought needed to be written for the gay community for when I'm long gone, because there are no gay history books, and for the gay youth, to know what life was like back in the day, I felt that was something that I needed to leave as a legacy to them from me. Does that
Nice.
answer your question, girl?
Yes, it does, girl.
Does anyone else have a question? All right, I have a question for Geneva. So, Department Brass, how come you didn't know you were Department Brass?
I wasn't Department Brass.
How did you have that? Oh, I'm asking.
Well, I got this award. I was a medical director, so I had to travel all over the All American Holdings and all over the United States and set up clinics and or treat any of our people in as an occupational medicine physician. And just like they were just tossing out awards to people, like anybody who's been there a long time and traveling all over the place. I went through tornadoes and everything to get to my assigned places, and they gave me this award. I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would I don't know what made me even take it out of my purse, except for I knew that some of the people who were there, some of those police and some of the doc people were part of Homeland Security. So, but no, nothing. I did nothing special.
I have another question for Geneva. Whatever happened with Walter?
Not a single thing that I know of, because believe me, I wrote a dissertation to the cruise line about this guy, and they just gave me the runaround. It's like, well, he doesn't really work for the cruise line. He actually works for these people, and all that. He probably is there telling people crazy things even to this very day. So there was no, to my knowledge. Now something might have happened, afterwards, because he was so out of control. When he was most out of control when they tried to stop him, like, calm down, Walter. It was like he wanted to get my grandson out of there, and they were horsing around, these kids. She was tickling her, and then she slapped him because he kept poking her and running and poking her and running. So
Oh boy.
little things like that can really, you could end up not being alive as a result of it. Mhm.
All right, you guys, we needed some questions. Sammy and I used ours up already.
Got some questions. Karen Swank, Holly McGuire, you got a question for us, for our storytellers? Maya Fitchu. Hello, Denise Tracy. Anyone going to ask a question?
Do you guys all know what's truth and what's not truth?
Hello, Sami Scot.
How are you, Denise?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. This is such a clever idea. Thank you. And I'm so glad that Judy is on, and that I also got to meet some new people and hear some new stories, and fact or fiction. So it's really lovely to hear you. And of course, my buddy Judy, but also to be introduced to Geneva and Dion in this format is really, really great. So thanks.
It is very cool. I'm glad you were here to see it and hear it.
Thank you. Thanks.
So no one has any more questions? So I guess you've all made up your mind whether you think the stories are fact or fiction.
I have.
You have? Let's start with Dion.
Yeah.
You can use your reaction button, or you can show your face, and let's show a show of hands. Who thinks Dion's story was true or false? Fact.
I think.
All right, raise your hand if you think it was true.
Oh, I don't know how to do. Okay.
You could just, yeah, oh, that works. 1, 2, 3,
The reaction
4,
button at the bottom
5,
of your
6,
screen, you
7,
can-
8, 9, 10. I'm counting 10.
I'm saying versus no up. There's nothing to show.
Oh, and Karen says truth, so that's 11.
Okay, there we
I
go.
voted false.
Oh, you voted false?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Dion, is your story true or false? Fact or fiction?
It was false.
Oh God. Okay, you're an amazing
Just
actor.
kidding. It was true.
Oh,
Oh,
Every
yeah.
word of it is true. I'm sorry.
wow.
Oh, I knew it was true.
I
I
wanted
knew it was true.
Did you? It was pretty scary. Dion, I forgot. I did want to ask a question, but since I asked Geneva, I couldn't ask before. How old were you when this happened?
I was 7.
11. No, 7.
7?
7.
Yeah, because I was still watching cartoons and bed.
Well, I mean, I still watch cartoons, so I did.
7. Well, yeah, but I mean, I was like I was a little kid, glad not to be in school.
Oh my God, that's so frightening.
And I had to go
Wow.
to get those things
Was it broad daylight?
in broad daylight.
Yes.
8 in the morning.
Always.
Our next storyteller, Geneva Norman, and her story was called The Finger. So we've asked all the questions of Geneva, and have we decided fact or fiction?
Raise your hand if you think it was fact. 6, 7, 8,
Maya's hand.
9, 10. I'm counting 10 plus Karen's 11, 12, 13. Does anybody think it is false? Just to see. Oh, I've got
Does
2.
Annie think it's false? Does Annie think it's false?
1,
I think it's
2,
false.
I
Yeah.
think it's false.
1, 2, 3. Well,
I love Geneva,
4.
but I think she told the story.
it's quite a story.
I never let them tell me that. I never want to know. I want to play the game too.
Girl, they think you're a liar, girl.
Oh, I think Geneva's telling a story. Geneva, true, fact, or fiction?
Well, Dion and I both trained at the Goodman Theater. I have never been on a cruise ship in my life.
Oh.
I never sang the blues.
Hey,
Okay.
Geneva.
And like Dion, I'm lying.
Oh,
Well, we know you can sing the blues.
It's
Wow.
a true story. It's a
Oh.
true story.
I didn't want it to be true, but
It's amazing.
Oh,
Amazing. Both of you. Golly. Life sometimes is more interesting
Yeah,
for sure.
it's true.
wow.
And last but not least, I like what you said, just delightful Judy. I think that's her new name. JDJ, just delightful.
Just delightful, Judy.
Yes.
I like it.
Judy's story was Broadway bound. Wait. I wrote it down. Broadway or bust, Broadway bound. Fact or fiction? Raise your hand if it's fact.
I'm going to eliminate myself because I know Judy way too well. So I'll eliminate myself. I know the true story, so I'll eliminate myself, even though I look like Dog Judy.
6.
Same here, I have to recuse myself.
4,
Thank you.
5, 6, 7, 8. I'm counting 8.
Anybody else want to play?
And you get 2 votes because you have.
True.
Two more
Okay,
facts.
there's a 9.
What,
and then-
Dion, tell me what? Dion, what?
Gets the
Dion?
vote.
It's
What?
true.
All right, it's true. Did somebody say that?
Yeah.
It's true.
So nice of you to. Oh, that's such fabulous life stories, you guys. I am.
But we didn't find out about
Wait,
Judy.
Did Judy confirm it? Somebody said it's true. I don't think it was Judy.
Are there any people that think it's false?
Not me. No. God forbid would I ever go against that story. I lived it.
It was every single bit absolutely
Absolutely
true.
true.
You can't make this stuff up.
You couldn't make it up.
That's why I was trying to divert the bio, Sammy, because I realized after that I had put that in my bio. Wait, Bernie has some pearl of wisdom.
Especially the part about her wonderful husband.
Yeah.
Say that. She did say
And
that.
actually, my former husband should be on here, and he's still my good buddy.
Yeah,
So
he's wonderful.
yeah, so there, I'm lucky. I've got.
How
one
about
to
your
spare.
cousin? How about your cousin? Me too.
And your cousin and my brother that tortured me about that.
Oh, the brother.
About that monologue. He should be on too. I saw his name before.
He's on, Jude.
All
He's
right.
on, Jude.
hey, Judy.
What? Dude?
Yeah.
Broadway is coming. It took me a long time.
Oh.
And it took me a long time, and I got there. I was in New York for probably at least about almost 17 years before I got there.
Wow.
All right.
It-
All right.
it-
I'm
it's
taking
coming.
those as pearls of wisdom.
Who's
Yeah,
this
it's coming.
beautiful girl?
Good for you, Shereen. That's amazing.
Who is this beautiful girl?
Congratulations to
Oh my
you.
God, she's so beautiful.
Yeah. So just keep, but as long as you believe it in your soul, I promise you, it is going to happen.
I
Okay,
want to go to
Jude.
therapy with this lady. She knows what she's talking about. Thank you, sweetheart.
Is she
That's
not
wonderful.
gorgeous?
Thank
Jude,
you.
is she
Yeah.
not the most beautiful woman? Yeah.
Oh,
Beautiful
thank
woman.
you so much.
Yeah.
Is
So beautiful.
Shereen, and she will be appearing on Facts or Fiction
Oh, I certainly hope
really soon.
Yay.
so. If anyone's interested in telling a story on fact or fiction, true or false, you don't have to sing, but we always like.
Oh, I do sing.
That's great.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I do sing.
Storyteller out there, even if you don't sing, don't let that stop you from telling your story on fact or fiction.
I like this show. This is a great show.
Oh, thank
It
you.
is.
Do it
It
again.
is.
Do it again.
Thank you.
Do
Once
it
a month
again.
we do it. I think I try to do it the first Saturday of every month. So
Good
if you-
job.
Nice.
I'm gonna
Sammy?
put my email in the chat, and you
Okay.
can email me your address. And
I will. Okay.
Sammy, what number is this?
I think this is like number. I don't remember.
Is it like 5 or 6?
Christina says 3.
I think four. It was
4. Yeah.
Okay.
This is like the 4th one.
yeah.
May I ask a question?
No, you had your chance.
The next time I should come to Chicago, Dion, I'm going to give you a good crack in the face. But is that why-
Whoa, it's getting real here, folks.
But you know,
No.
everybody
We're
tells
Italian,
me
that's
that.
the way we
Everybody
talk.
says
No,
that to
I
me.
give you a kiss on the cheek. Is that why you filmed this in a grocery store in the canned vegetables section?
Well, I found this backdrop and it looked empty to me with the empty
Okay,
shopping
I was curious about that because I thought there has to have some connection to his story. Okay,
like an empty. It's like an empty
yeah,
grocery
yeah,
store. Nobody's
yeah.
there.
Like a cart with
They
no
left their
people.
I
shopping
like the
cart.
card, but yeah,
They were in
yeah,
the middle of shopping. They left their
yeah,
shopping cart.
yeah, too
Girl,
cute.
you got to think deep, girl. Think deep.
I was trying to, but your gorgeousness overwhelmed me. So
Well,
I
I totally understand, girl. And you
uh,
see, Judy, why once somebody meets me, they never forget me.
I won't forget you, honey. No, I won't forget you.
No,
After
Judy,
pretty soon after we're out of this quarantine, I hope to take this show live. And
A great show,
yeah,
great
a
show.
club where I'm playing, and we'll do a live performance of Fact or Fiction,
Yeah, like it, love it.
and then we can still do Zoom because it will be easy to film it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because I don't live there.
Okay, yeah, it'll be online, and then it'll also be live in a
you'll
club.
have to catch a bus.
Oh, I've been known to catch a bus now.
Willa told her she has to catch a bus.
So cute.
All
So
for being
great.
here. So fun, so fun. I'm gonna play us out because I know Bonnie's got another Zoom mistress calling. Later tonight.
Before you go, before you play out, can I just say thank you so much to you, Sami, and to Bonnie for putting together this wonderful event. And your brain is just, I mean, I don't know how you come up with all this stuff.
Yeah.
But thank you so much to both of you. Thank you. And to
I just
everyone
showed
who
up
came.
today. It's all Sami. So
You know what, Bonnie? Let me tell you, you were wonderful replacing
Oh,
Kiki.
Yeah.
thank
Let's
you.
take her to the curb and just have you.
Kiki will be sad that you did such a great job.
You did such a you were wonderful. You were
Thank
just
you. It was
wonderful.
my
Thanks,
pleasure.
Bonnie. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You all, and
Great,
thanks to
great,
the
great,
audience
great.
that came.
Great
Thank you
show.
all.
Thank you.
Great show.
And we're live on Facebook, and which I'm going to shut that off right now. And so you can go to Storytellers Fact or Fiction and watch the show again.
Okay.
Oh my God, Kiki's gonna see that we praised you, Bonnie.
And yeah, we're going to praise Kiki too.
So, Sammy, do you have like a place where you put all this, all each?
It's a Storyteller Fact or Fiction. It'll be on that page. And I also have a personal page, a Sami Scot YouTube channel, where I put the Fact or Fiction shows.
Yeah, it always comes up on my YouTube page. I
Does
always
it?
put it on my YouTube page.
So
I searched Fact or Fiction Sami Scot and I got a couple of them. So
oh,
on
good. So
on
it
YouTube.
shows up on YouTube, right? So anyway, thanks again. Thanks everybody, and come to Serbian Village tonight if you want to sing a song, because that's where I'll be.
I would love to.
Awesome.
I'm a little far though. A little far.
Thanks, you guys. You're gonna sing for us, Sami? Good.
So I'll just play you out. You don't have to stay and listen. This is for
I'll listen, honey, because you're so cute.
You say the neon lights are bright on Broadway. They say there's always magic in the air. When you're walking down the street, you ain't had enough to eat. The glitter rubs right off your nowhere. Oh, they say that boys are something else on Broadway. But looking at them just gives me the blues. How you gonna make some time when all you got is one thin dime? One thin dime won't even shine your shoes. say that I won't last too long on Broadway. I'll catch a Greyhound bus for home, they all say. They're dead wrong, I know they are. I can play this here guitar, and I won't quit till I'm a star. On Broadway, yes, on Broadway. On Broadway, on Broadway, on Broadway. Oh, on Broadway, on Broadway. Once again, thanks everybody for being here. See y'all on Broadway or on Urban Park Road tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. If anybody's interested in being on the show, just let me know. I'd love to have you.
Awesome. Bye.
Wonderful.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Geneva. Thank you, Dion. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, everyone.